Late Night Grin. Also, what does that name mean?
We're back, folks. LNG 120. Bobby is in his conference room. We have professional wrestling to preview. That's our specialty around here. The SummerSlam in our sights. The biggest party of the summer. I don't know if you fellas have heard about that. Biggest party of the summer. Big business ahead. We have much to discuss. The Fed free. We were without the great Chris Bourdine, but there is a surprise in that regard. We do have some insight coming throughout the night. But first, let's meet the aforementioned Fed Free. Bobby Two Shoes, how are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to be back. I had my week off last week. The Ring of Honor show looked like a great time. Did not get around to watching it yet, but looked like that was a hell of a show, and I still have Honor Club, so once I get back in my usual setting, I will probably fire that up. So looking forward to
it. I loved it. Have you ever not had Honor Club?
I think I canceled it for a while, and then one pay-per-view, Jack was like, "Oh, what's your Honor Club login?" And I didn't want to tell him when I canceled it, so I just got it again, and I've had it since then. But he didn't ask me last week, so...
Wait.
Wait a minute. Wait a second.
How have you never told us this before?
You got Honor Club to fucking...
I think it was for... I think it was her Final Battle. Was that one on Honor Club?
Yes, the last two have been on Honor Club, yeah.
That's when I got it back.
Oh my god, dude, that is unbelievable. So, Jack Crosby, one of the most aggressive and volatile members of our friend group, hits you up. By the way, Jack Crosby, who's a golfer now, and he's, the wealthiest person that we consider a friend. Well, I consider a friend, and I'll speak for you guys. But he... Rather than just telling Jack, no, I haven't got Honor Club, not had it for months, buy Honor Club. You bought it yourself in order to make him... Who was you trying to make feel better, yourself or him?
I think I was also planning to watch Final Battle because it was the first one on there. So, I never did, but,
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll watch it, and then, Jack can watch it too or whatever.
Did he watch it?
I don't know. Like I said, he didn't ask me last week, so he did not watch last week's show, I don't think.
Tremendous. All right. Oracle, how are you doing this evening?
I'm okay. That tail just stumped me. But I'm good. Waking up a little bit from the nap I took. Got it from. But I'm here. I'm ready. The biggest party of the summer is to be discussed. It appears Joe has some sort of Hawaiian shirt on for the occasion. So, to please the contrarian who's not with us tonight, but I'm sure will send us a photo of his SummerSlam gear.
He's got a lot of heat right now, right? But yeah, hopefully he can.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. Is what it is.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one.
Good. Your Oracle is currently in Joe Holbert Grin Grappler mode where he's just regenerating from the nap.
Mm-hmm.
The nap is very dangerous. It's good. You have to actually get into the deep waters to appreciate it. At first, you're not able to swim very well. Very difficult. These are the challenges of the nap. But you'll be fine. Folks, as I mentioned, Chris Bourdine is not here tonight. He'll be back next week. We have a SummerSlam draft show in which we'll be drafting matches from SummerSlam history. However, he did do me the favor of sending his predictions via DM so that there's at least some accurate predictions on this show. rather than our own sort of wherever we're going to go. Because I mean, this is one of those shows that like I look at the card and there's not a lot on here that I feel very strongly about. To be honest with you, there's a few things I wouldn't have pretend for the sake of content. It looks very middling to me, very very middling. We're going to get into that in a second. First, we have one super chat waiting for us. We'll get to that, folks. There's a like button here on YouTube, and Bob and I are firm believers. Bob, what should they do with that button?
Yep. Smash the like button.
Smash it. There you go. And subscribe and all those wonderful things. And if you're feeling generous and you want to discuss the World Wrestling Federation, you can send a super chat like Will, who says, shout out WWE letting good old RF. What, the RF?
Yeah, he was right behind.
Video shoot?
It's not great.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, Bob, you cut. What did you say?
He was right behind Wade Barrett, so whenever they show Wade on commentary, like you see him right there.
Oopsies, as long as the paper is green, WWE can score him 6 seats, right? Why and how is he around WWE at all? Well, unfortunately, Rob Feinstein interviewed every prominent professional wrestler post being exposed the way he was exposed because professional wrestlers don't give a shit. So I'd imagine one of the boys hooked him up. Very sad. I did not know this. Yeah, it sucks, dude. Wrestling's very gross. I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
Well, the answer to that question is when you watch professional wrestling,
Yeah.
Morals don't exist.
It's brutal.
So,
it never ceases to amaze, frankly. Ever. Like it never surprises. Like you think you're never gonna be surprised again, and then you go, "Oh my god, really? It's that bad?" Yeah, it's crazy.
it's not.
What year did the Feinstein stuff go down? Quickly, while we're on this.
20 years ago.
2004. Go to RF Video and look at every grappler they've interviewed since then, and what you will see is basically a modern wrestling Hall of Fame. You could fill out most PWI 500s with those fucking balls, dude. People don't give a shit in wrestling, you know. As long as they're not being called out about it, even if they are being called out, I don't really care much. But it's a rotten game. Bob, do you have any official comment on quote good old RF? That rocked me, dude. Because I'm so wrestling warped that I immediately know who RF is, but like I didn't know if I was taking a leap. I shouldn't. Do you have any comment, Bob?
No.
Yeah. Brainbuster, Bob, when was the last time you punched a wall? Good question. You actually have, like in late night Law, you have punched walls.
Yeah, no, I told the story. I don't remember what it was. It was last summer we were on break. I guess 2 summers ago when I like dropped a plate in my kitchen and retaliated or responded by punching the wall. Just owned myself twice.
Could you have just picked up the plate?
Oh, I still had to anyway. So like, you know,
did the plate shatter,
it broke,
break?
So like,
broke. Yeah. So you were punching more about the fact you'd broken a plate than just merely, That makes sense.
And the thing is, you know, Bobby's a big guy, so I'm sure he fucking punched his whole damn arm through the wall, you know.
Yeah, pretty much.
It against yourself.
Just punching them, you dumb piece of shit. That's glorious. All right, thank you for that. I don't know if Brainbuster had any clue about that piece of lore, but yeah, that's the thing. God, was that 2 years ago, you said?
I think so.
Where'd all the time go, boys?
It's crazy.
Wild times. Anyway, we hope you're well, folks. Thank you to those super chats. We got some wrestling matches to preview. Before we get into those, I think it always makes sense to do the good old-fashioned temperature check. And I must say, I've noticed, I as you guys know, at this point, I don't watch wrestling. But I'm on the outside looking in and I see everything. You know, other than good old RF, as our prior super chat pointed out. I didn't see that. But, you know, I see the discourse. I follow it closely. It seems to me things are getting a little bit volatile, a little bit on edge in the land of the World Wrestling Federation. Now, let me be clear about this, folks. I'm referencing the hardcore fan, right? That's what I'm referencing. I'm sure most people that fill in the buildings are popping huge and having fun. I don't know. Well, what have you made of the slight shift in tone? I feel like there's like a certain frustration with Triple H booking. Maybe I'm wrong here. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, no, I think there definitely has been, the kind of slow pace of everything. Plus, I think people are starting to get a little sick of the Bloodline stuff. That's not in the building. That's just online. And then you have Bloodline fans who are starting to get sick of Cody, which again, that's just online. It's just, it's kind of a weird place right now. In the building, everything's good, and everything was good online for a while, and now online's kind of getting back to where it had been kind of previously.
I think a lot of it, there seems to be unrest. I think we're going to get into this tonight with the SummerSlam card.
Yeah.
Which I'm somewhere in the middle on, to be honest with you. Oracle, what have you thought of the last month or so of booking? And I guess we've always talked about Triple H will book in these blocks, right? Like Mania to SummerSlam, SummerSlam to SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. What have you made of this block and what is kind of culminating with tomorrow night? Where are you at?
Well, I think they hit a wall with Punk and Drew, for example. First of all, I think they made the mistake back in the spring of having them have these confrontations when Punk wasn't cleared and Drew was in the midst of he'd already signed or whatever before that maybe, but it was it was all those speculation or whatever. Right. So and they had them. They should have had them separated. Excuse me. The worst part about getting up from a nap is I'm stopped up, so that's the thing.
Have a good blow of the nose in a second, bro. Treat yourself.
I'm good. Okay. But they, I probably will go do that here in a minute. But Punk Drew was drawn out in the sense that I don't have a problem with them waiting till now to have the match. That's not the issue. But they had too many segments between now and Mania.
Yeah.
They should have let them not interact at all for 2.5 months. There should have been there should have been no Punk from maybe the draft until Clash of the Castle.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. But no, we saw him 2 or 3 other times. And stuff like that. And then Rollins getting involved, even though there's it makes sense. There's a progression storyline there that can there's sense there. I think the initial segment when Seth came back and got involved with Punk and Drew again was hot, but I think it's simmered down since then. And the referee stuff is I don't know. I feel like it's unnecessary.
Kind of dilutes it a bit.
Yeah. And I really didn't like the segment on Monday. I thought Seth was pretty bad, and I thought Punk was pretty bad. Drew was solid, but I don't know. I think, and that's the hottest program going in. Solo is when they initially did brought all these guys in. It was hot, and then it's a typical thing where you run into the ground of Randy Orton and KO versus Bloodline for 5 months, and Solo is he's not great,
Solo is
I think that's just those 2 matches, which are in theory the 2 biggest matches of the up there, the third being Liv and Rhea, which I think has gone great still, and people are critical of that, but the people who are critical of that program have been critical of it, from the beginning. For reasons of their own, which are valid, but reasons I don't agree with. I just think that part of it is, the block-to-block booking, which I do appreciate. Sometimes it becomes like a hamster running on a wheel, right?
Yeah.
And things get cold before you know it, and then you kind of stagger into the finish line, and here we are.
You're locked in.
Yeah.
He's locked in. He hasn't
He
even
is.
blown his nose yet, and he's fucking locked in, dude. Ready to go. We're going to get into these matches here in a moment, folks. I think that was a necessary place to start. I think it always makes sense to kind of get a read. I don't know. There's some stuff I want to watch here. My interest is leaning on a couple key things. One of them I have some concerns about. We're going to get into all of that and much, much more. All right. I have a super chat. Wrestle Hook says, and I quote, I also think Cody and Solo was a tough sell, especially because Cody, Randy, and Solo Roman were teased somewhat heavily before Money in the Bank even happened. I like the point about it's almost too apparent where our destination is in regards to Solo before Money in the Bank, as Wrestle Hook mentions, like actively cut a promo on Roman. And Cody and Randy is like more, I think you can presume, but I get the point, and more so than the point really is the more enticing match, right? I'll get into my take on Cody and Solo once we get there. I don't really have huge issues with it. What I will say is I think they could have protected themselves better in terms of giving the undercard more kind of meaty matches. And I don't mean of the match where blokes chop each other. I mean, enticing matches. I think they've put themselves in a position where Cody and Solo needs to overachieve. And I actually think that's why the stipulation tonight was a pretty big deal, actually. And we'll get into that. Thank you, Wrestle Hook. I apologize for using your super chat as my own talking point. All right. Okay, 1 second, folks. Right, here we go. Let's get into it, Bobby. You ready for the biggest part of the summer, Bob?
I am. I'm excited.
What you drinking?
Probably just water. Right now I got water, so big water guy. Stay hydrated.
You've been known to, when you're without water, you actually will tweet "need water."
Exactly.
It's a thing you do. Just Simon. I don't think I'll be excited for Bloodline stuff again until Rock is back, to be honest, or for the World Heavyweight Championship, unless Big Gunt wins. That one's really got people's attention in terms of people have some doubts about Big Gunny and whether he's going to get the medium gold tomorrow night at the SummerSlam. As for The Rock, I get it. I personally am a big enough Roman fan that I'm very excited for him to be back personally. But I do understand that for a lot, he's divisive, so I get it. Right, let's start with the Intercontinental title. An interesting one. Bron Breakker and Sami Zayn. Last month, we discussed in detail the kind of pros and cons of putting the belt on Bron and rocking and rolling. We were all slightly unsure as to whether or not they would, pull the trigger in was it Toronto, Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
Toronto. In Toronto, or we thought maybe Sami escapes and they run it back later. What was interesting was, in an outline sense, I think we were right in the kind of guessing maybe they'll delay it. But what was weird is Sami Zayn didn't win by a roll-up. He didn't get an inside cradle on Bron. He beat him with his finish, right? And I actually, personally, I know it was a controversial decision. I actually liked the booking, and I actually kind of admired the way that they framed it, or they could frame it, as Bron Breakker's great, but it takes time to be great on the big stage. And he got caught by a veteran. I thought it was a compelling story to tell. It's something that you see less so on the US scene, but it's a traditional wrestling tale. With that being said, if that was the story they were going to tell, I don't know if I would have immediately turned around and then done this, right? It's kind of like, I find this to be a slightly strange situation they're in. Bron Breakker has to win. I think that goes without saying, but I'm a little bit torn on kind of the setup here, Bob. What do you make of Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn? Go for it.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird, because the build was basically just like, oh, he wrestled Dragunov again, and he's kind of been doing the same thing he did in the build of Money in the Bank. So it's I get it, but He does have to win, obviously, but like it wasn't really a different enough build, and that's
Yes,
fine. Like I think the match is going to be good. It's two guys who very much know what they're doing. It's going to be a good match, but like the build kind of suffered a little bit.
I just think they could have, and I've actually tried my best to watch what they've done here, folks. If I've missed stuff, I apologize, but I just think they could have portrayed that progression better.
Yeah. No, I mean, Jake is right. It is a lot like the Braun Ciampa food for the NXT title, but like even then, it was like, why did Ciampa beat him first in the first place? Like, did they need to do that? And I think that's still kind of being debated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people are debating it, but if you want to do that, you can debate it if you want. The idea that out there's someone just furious. October 2021. Was that when it was? October?
Yeah. Yeah, right when
Yeah.
they relaunched NXT.
Yeah. So, Oracle, what do you make of this?
I think it's just another example of like the kind of repetition of the Triple H booking. Honestly, a better option probably would have been. Although I think, for what it's worth, I think Braun's winning tomorrow. I think it may have been better to like sort of regenerate and build Braun back up on TV. Not that they've done a bad job of it in the last month. They've done a fine job of it. He closed Raw like 3 times. But maybe have him win the title in Germany and have Sami wrestle somebody else at SummerSlam.
A little bit more of a steady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't wait too long after that. But
Right.
you can skip a month and kind of make that the story of he lost and he has to fight his way back. And
it will be interesting how Zayn tells the story in ring, because he will try to the best of his ability, right? In terms of
oh yeah,
there'll be a beat or two in there, I think, where he'll almost make a mistake and not. Do we think this leans more squash? Do we think this is, I look at this card, 7-match card, which in the Triple H era is like a WrestleMania 34 length card, right? And we don't see this very often. Do you think this could be something that goes short, perhaps? What do you reckon, fellas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could. Like Braun, it would establish him a lot. Plus, like Sami, after he loses the title, he probably could stand to take a couple months off anyway, and that's like a good way to write him off. And again, make Braun just kind of bigger and more established. But we'll see. Like I know people thought that they should do it for Rhea and Liv, but since that's been kind of more fleshed out now, I don't think they're going to do that. Yeah, so I mean, I could see it.
Oracle, what do you reckon?
I would be stunned if this was a squash. Mm-hmm. I only say that because of the Triple H booking patterns.
Yeah.
Triple H, I don't think has ever done anything outside of the box like that ever.
Bob's thinking. Look at Bob trying to think of a squash title change.
No.
He's scanning catalogs in his head.
I think this will probably go like 13 minutes, like somebody said in the chat. I think every match is getting like 15 minutes, man.
Maybe.
That's a Triple H formula. Like he treats every show like a takeover. So like, Cody and Solo is going to go 28, and I'm going to, throw my head through a wall. But the Bloodline Rules helps, and we'll talk about that. But this match should be good, I think. I was really excited for it last month. From a personal standpoint, because Zayn won, I don't have the interest in this one in a rematch as much. That's why I kind of would have staggered it too as well, so that I could have, been more interested in that rematch later on. But I do think it'll be a good match.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I didn't love their match last month, but I liked it, and I think this will probably be better because I think with the title change there'll be more drama, and I do think Bron is more a work in progress than work in progress. I always get confused which I'm supposed to say that now. Someone once told me I said progress in the American way, and ever since then I've been confused which way is which. You guys say progress, right?
Progress, yeah.
Yeah. Bron's a work in progress. More than I think the highlight reel suggests. And I think you actually see it. Like last month's match, he had a lot of room, and I think you actually see it when he's tying his stuff together. He'll figure it out. But yeah, I think this will be better than last month. Chris Bourdin has Bron winning, says, quote, right the wrong of last PLE. Feels like that's the most likely scenario here. So we've all got Bron Breakker, correct? We've all got Bron Breakker, new IC champion. All right, couple of super chats. Jay Blood, question for the panel. Will Cleveland be able to contain, quote, the biggest party of the summer? It's going to be hot in the city, that's for sure. Pulse. Bob?
Yeah, hopefully. They, as a city, haven't really proved to be able to do much right in the past 50 years or so. But, I'm optimistic for them this time.
Yeah. Do you think it's a big blow? Like, do you reckon there'll be a lot of refunds because Gargano's not on the show?
Yeah, absolutely.
I do worry about that, Oracle. Like, I think it might be empty tomorrow. Yeah. Because in Cleveland, he's a big star in Cleveland. I don't know if you've aware of this. Johnny Wrestling.
The question is, well, never mind. I'm not going to do it.
You sure?
I'm going to do it because it's stupid. I'm just trolling. But, I looked it up, and they got, 50 tickets? Or 50K?
50? Yeah, 50K.
Yeah. How funny it'd be if they beat Wembley by like a few hundred.
What, the upcoming Wembley, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. It depends on who you asked. And there's a lot of different numbers now with Wembley. I get very confused. I thought you were saying last year's Wembley. I was thinking, Jesus, what do you want? What do you want to do? How hot do you think Solo Sikoa is?
No.
It's the SummerSlam, bro. It's a big event.
It'll be a hot crowd. I'm always for the outdoor stadium shows. I think it'll look cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think it will too. Hopefully the crowd's good. Last year's SummerSlam was in a stadium, and it was, Kartik says, and I quote, the build to everything peaked a week early, as they did the de facto go home last week and just punted this week since it's on Sci-Fi. Yeah. Excellent overall, in my opinion, but the Cody Chase build trumps Drew Punk, in my opinion. The Sci-Fi thing must have been a little frustrating, right? I assume.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
how much did it hurt the numbers?
Kind of,
Yeah. How much did it hurt the numbers? Do you know?
I think like 1.4 million. So down. Okay, but I mean, the Olympics thing on hurts too because people are watching that. That's what happened with Dynamite, I believe, as well. So
that's pretty good, to be fair.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. We all got Bron Breakker, folks. Thanks for those super chats. Bob, what should I do with the like button?
Smash that like button.
Appreciate it. All right, United States title. LA Knight.
All right.
This has been penciled in as like the LA Knight title thing for legitimately like a year.
Yeah.
And it's the least of anyone's concerns, but it's terribly unfortunate how like it has nothing to do with him this anymore, does it? It has let's be real, like it has nothing to do with him winning anymore. In the conversation, in the building, people don't give a shit in the building. They won't even be aware of any of the Logan Paul stuff. But he's gonna win the belt tomorrow night, most likely. And it's just like it's the total backdrop to Logan Paul's whole shit. But again, that's in our bubble. Nonetheless, they've been building this for a while. I know I speak for you guys, but I honestly don't even think there's any point like dwelling on the Logan stuff because the idea that we're supposed to sell for Logan Paul being an asshole at this point, it's like, bro, I mean,
yeah,
like he is who he is, right? Like that's that.
There are years
exactly
of online evidence of his behavior.
That case is closed.
Like, nothing new.
No, he's fucking sucks.
People were just reacting, and
and rightly so. I'm glad they did.
Yeah,
but he sucks.
It's just not. What do you expect?
Right, he's told us enough times who he is.
Right.
I don't know what. I think this match there's a huge range between floor and ceiling. I think there's a version of this match where they tried to work like an athletic stunt show, high spot match that I think could be very unfortunate. On the other hand, if they do a traditional wrestling match, it may get over huge in the building. Placement will be key. I think this could be pretty ugly, but I think it could be a crowd pleaser. I don't know, Bob. What do you make of LA Knight and Logan Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I think LA Knight's got to win. I think, you know, before yesterday, I think there's like a chance that Logan could retain. It would be stupid. But now there's no way, man. Like, Triple H is too online. And, like, even if he wasn't, you can't fucking do that. Like, the locker room clearly was upset enough, rightfully, that they were speaking out on social media. Like, you got to get the belt off them and just get him out of there. Like, and again, it was LA Knight's time no matter what. Don't get me wrong. Like, they've been kind of building to this. But, like, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It probably does. It probably does limit the chances of him winning, purely because his following is so big that it became a bigger thing than just the usual wrestler tweets something dumb, right? I mean, his platform is massive.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Triple H is already going to get probably asked about the tweets tomorrow night in the scrum, and like it gets magnified even more and makes it I mean, you'd hope. You know, but
I'm sure he'll have a great answer for that.
Yeah. No, but it gets magnified even more if you have him win as well.
Could we just talk about the fact that we broke the all-time SummerSlam gate?
Either way, Oracle. Anything on the wrestling match, I should say, because I do realize that I pitched it to Bob as thoughts on LA Knight and Logan Paul. Oh, unfair, my bad. Thoughts on the wrestling match they're going to have tomorrow night.
I think LA Knight's going to win. I think he was going to win anyways before all this controversy. But I think the match might be good. Maybe it's hard to say. Logan Paul at times look great, and other times. There's a long stretch for like 9 months where like everybody else was saying he was good, and Joe and I were just
drove me nuts. Dude.
He didn't have good matches.
It drove me nuts.
The Ray match sucked. I mean, it was just spot after spot after spot. There was no rhyme or reason to it. The Miz match that I was at a couple of years ago was really good.
That was good. Yeah,
that match was really good.
The Roman match was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't love the Cody match. Went too long. But
too long, yeah.
This match I actually think will be good. I'm somewhat confident in that. I do think the crowd will be hot. I think LA Knight does win here, and I think he'll probably get a mega pop for it. Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, I actually think. I have fun with the LA Knight thing because he like pops me. He's the archetype and the role he's playing pops me in 2024. I think he's a refreshing kind of just simplistic kind of wrestling babyface. He talks shit, he kicks ass. I appreciate it. I actually think he has not got enough credit for how hot he has kept himself.
Oh yeah.
So let's be honest, dude. Like he's creative since WrestleMania. Like he didn't do anything, right? He's just floating around waiting to win the US title, and ultimately, like. Winning the US title is cool and all, but it's not like I think he's done a really good job of keeping himself in the game. I think, again, as I kind of circled earlier, very poorly worded it, but I think if they have a traditional wrestling match, good guy versus bad guy, punch, kick, brass knucks, interference, shenanigans, I actually think this could tear the house down. If they have a match that they have been, preparing for weeks in the Performance Center, I think it could be much less fun. Because you mentioned it, Oracle, and we'll talk about it quickly here. It drove me nuts. And while I understand why people were impressed, he's brand new and he's an athlete. There are so many people who the wrestling they supposedly hate least is it just looks like guys out there doing flips for the sake of doing flips. And it was the exact same audience that was telling me Logan Paul was this like he was actually the best wrestler in America, like overnight.
Yeah.
It drove me. I remember Oracle night. We were like, we needed each other to just vent this frustration. It was like
very annoying.
Yeah. This hopefully will be more of a conventional wrestling match because I think they could have a good one. LA Knight is an over babyface. Logan Paul is a hated heel. Hopefully, LA Knight leaves with the US title. Chris Bourdin chipped in with it's the Megastar's time. He actually used slightly different phrasing, but I respect Chris and will let I'll leave it there. I think we will. Logan Paul's got enough of our fucking attention this week, right? Like I can't. Yeah. So again, folks, LA Knight's our pick, and hopefully we can move on. If not, we're going to be moving on here nonetheless. Let's talk some World's titles. We have 5 matches left, 4 World's title matches, and 1 Pepsi match. We're going to start with the medium gold. Everyone's favorite, Dame Priest, who has legitimately on a monthly basis changed my mind. Was all in, ready to make him a new like whole but pretend guy. Then he had a match with Seth Rollins that made me very mad, and I had to resign. But then the build for this has been good. So I'm like, well, hold on, maybe I'm back in. This is the match I've circled. I've been talking about this for weeks. I think this is going to actually rock the house. I'm very bullish on this match. Gunther, Damian Priest, World's title. I think there's something here. I'm going to explain why in some more detail. But first, Oracle, I'm going to go to you. Gunther, Damian Priest. I actually think this build is overachieved. I'm bullish on this, Oracle. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this match will probably be pretty great. Priest showed that he was pretty darn good as a guy working underneath in that Drew match.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play that role even more here. You have to lay it in a little bit. Which sometimes he can be a little bit loose and a little bit kind of uncoordinated with his stuff.
Loose.
But I think this will be a good one. I think Priest will work very passionately. Wink, wink.
Come on.
I just wanted to say that just for the pop. This build has been good. Gunther called him gutter trash or something like that. Something very mean and
mean. True. Very mean is a good word for it. Yeah. Look, we're on the WWF pre-show. That was very mean, Peter Rosenberg.
Yeah, they've had these big brawls with our last couple weeks that have been well done. So this has been a really well built program. Street trash, there we go. Yeah, it's different. But it's a distinct difference from what I said.
Some of the Gunther stuff is it's interesting.
Still mean. But this is it's still kind of a match that like I sort of repulse from because it's not really, you know what I mean? But
it's a weird match.
They've done such a fine job of building it that I can't help but be intrigued and a little interested in it.
Yeah, it's never going to be.
I think it probably has I'll say this. Mm-hmm. It has the highest floor of any match on the show.
Really?
It's going to be good. Oh yeah, it's going to be good. I think Gunther's that trustworthy. I think he's a guy. I think he's good enough to make sure the match is safely good. Now it might just be safely good, like the Drew match was last year, right?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
But cool.
It's going to be. I think every other match has a lower floor. The whole show has a lot of whole show has a lot of matches that like are basically skyscraper level high with the floor ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know where anything's going to land.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think this is a match that will be the one that for sure delivers. I think.
I actually do agree with your assessment because what Gunther does well gives every match a very respectable floor. He brings the physicality. His matches make sense. So I do actually like your take. This is the match, maybe though. Well, not the match. There's a few of them actually. We're being honest. This is really reliant on heat, I think, though. Yeah. In the sense that the real project of this last couple months has been getting people to cheer Damian Priest, and they have happily come along for that ride, right? The people are happy to cheer Damian Priest. The question is, how would they respond to him in a stadium show if, let's just say, for the sake of conversation, he's on after CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre?
Yeah.
You know, because there's levels to being over. Right now, if you watch Raw, Damian Priest is coming across, to me anyway, as an actual main event guy. And I think they've actually got him across that bridge. The question is, will that translate to this particular crowd? You never know. They're the variables you play with these kind of shows. But I think that's huge in how this comes off. I'm bullish on it as a match because to me, it's like Gunther's going to shape this stylistically. And I think Priest adjusts accordingly. If he's wrestling Seth Rollins, they have a moves match and all that comes with that. Here against Gunther, I think this is going to be physical. I think they're going to club each other. And I agree with you. You know, Priest will have to keep things a little bit tight. I think he can, with some of his kicks and stuff, I think he can overcomplicate it a little bit. But I think this will probably be really good. The finish is really
I have people time picking who's going to win. I mean, Gunther seems like the smart pick and the most realistic, and the most maybe not realistic, but seems like the more obvious one, I guess. Yeah. But you know, they're going to Germany in a month, and I could see them waiting for that. You know, and crowning them there, and I think Priest might get a win here. You know, I really do. I
don't disagree. Yeah.
I kind of think he will. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. I think Priest is returning. And I think a lot of people
you're going to be mad.
People who do movie podcasts are going to be very upset about this. Who is
they're going to be passionate.
Yeah, passionate about it. Yeah. I think Gunther wins in Germany. But not tomorrow. That's
going to really cause some debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm not torn. I was going to pick Gunny, but now I'm hesitant. I'm gun shy. Bobby, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Oracle. I think it has like the kind of closest floor and ceiling. Like it's gonna be really solid. I've also kind of thought for a few weeks that Priest was going to win. It just, because I mean, kind of like the chat said too, like there's not like a ready-made opponent for Gunther in Germany on Raw right now. Like, so do you push this off and crown him there? And like, I know people are gonna be upset, but like, there is still more to this Judgment Day story where like Priest has to still fully separate from them to go like fully babyface.
Can't Gunny wrestle like one of the three major stars that are in the other angle in Berlin?
Sure.
Like if Drew's beating Punk, can't they do Gunny and Drew in Berlin?
Yeah.
Yeah. I for what it's worth, I'm going with Priest, but I still think, you know, Gunther's the right choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he should win. I mean, you know, and like it doesn't matter.
Doesn't sound like it to me.
Chance and a good chance to win, but I'm gonna pick Priest.
No, Oracle, don't worry. Let's let Bob. Bob, what's your problem, bro?
You know, it doesn't matter as much as it used to. Like if you lose your first title match and like
wins and losses don't matter. Road dog, huh?
Well, no, but again, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good match. I'd like to see Gunther win. I think there's a way that Priest could win where you can get another month out of it and it'll still be captivating. Just because the other thing is like Bad Blood, you kind of get the feeling that two of Drew and Punk and Seth are going to wrestle there. So like maybe you do a brief stop, like 1 month thing, but that wouldn't really make sense for Gunther's first like defense either. They're top guys, but
what wouldn't make sense? Are you going after me again? I just stopped.
I just don't think Gunther and Seth makes sense for Germany.
I didn't say Gunther.
He's one of the three guys in the other angle.
Gunther and Drew McIntyre is the big Scottish one.
Yeah, you said any of the other three.
I did, but then I adjusted accordingly, Bob. I adjusted accordingly. I understand what you're saying. Let's reset. Okay, let me reframe, folks, because Bob's upset at me. I am suggesting, because I think we all think Drew's going to beat Pepsi, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that a win over CM Punk would position him to have a match with Gunther in Germany, where Gunther could be the unofficial babyface in a match where they whack each other a lot. Bob, is that okay? Am I allowed to say that? I mean, I know I'm the host, but I like to give opinions on occasion, you know?
Sure. Yes, that is fine. if Gunther wins, that probably would be who he would face.
Thank you. See how he gets Oracle when you just try and make a pitch? He has to have all the ideas. The least confrontational member of the team. Chris.
I like how Joe sometimes, just for the thrill of the show, to get people talking and clips made, will like antagonize Bobby enough to where Bobby actually breaks a little bit.
Yeah, I antagonized him, and then he actually started debating me. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like it's.
There's some arguments in the chat where I'm almost want to take back my Priest pick, but now I'm just going to go for the wild pick, and I'm going to go with Priest now. Yeah. But Gunther Seth for the title does make sense. Naturally, that could be
now Seth's back involved again. See, now we're getting into. I don't know. Now there's people talking about Ilya in the chat.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
That's a good little pre-show match, isn't it? Get Ilya in there, he could do his dance and it. They could chop each other and do all that. They could post pictures of their red chests afterwards. That's very in vogue nowadays. I don't know if you heard Oracle. I was real mad about Finn letting me down like that. I was ready to tune in. I had the wine ready. Finn Balor and Gunther. I thought they were going to have a classical wrestling match. And I logged on Twitter and I saw Finn had done the red chest picture. I said, fuck. Why does everyone have to do this now? Even Finn. Finn he's a classical worker. Can't we do arm drags or something? It's just terrible time.
Let me say something. No way Gunther's taking freaking arm drags, bro. I don't think I've ever seen Gunny take an arm drag.
We have stories to tell, We have stories to tell. And I rely on Finn Balor as a polished pro who no longer makes contact with anyone. I rely on him to tell these stories without sheer violence in the chest. I'm part of the Hitman Society now, So that's a Bret Hart fan, but I'm not a murderer. I want to be clear about that. Folks, what I'm trying to do, we have an issue right now in this industry. And Bob knows what I'm talking about. Don't let his grin, slightly smug grin for that matter, fool you. We have an issue with knife-edge chops right now. A severe issue, for that matter.
You know what's funny about that?
What's that, mate?
The best Chris Jericho match I've seen in 18 months occurred on that Wednesday a week or so ago. You probably
it may have, but that says more about the last 18 months of Chris Jericho.
Oh, it says a whole lot, doesn't it? He should have been doing that for years, but anyways.
I believe in storytelling, Bob. If that makes me a villain, then
Did he really give Gunny arm drags?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember that. I mean, I believe you, but I just don't recall.
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Let's see. What was we doing? Was we reviewing a match or previewing a match? What do we do here? We have super chats. All right. Apparently he did. Yeah. So they could have had arm drags, drop down tackle, get it again.
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
I just don't want to.
It could have been like a New Generation match,
Yes, it should have been. It should have been like a New Generation match. And then you build to the chop. Yeah, you get to the corner, and Gunther has to wrestle the hands to fire the chop.
Are you suggesting that you're not a fan of Sheamus now?
I would never do that. I just believe we need to challenge the great grapplers of our time to be better than simply reddening their chest. That's what I believe.
That's true. Sheamus also puts together his matches very well, so it's a little bit different.
I may change. About 6 months ago, the only thing I cared about was whether or not people threw good chops. I have changed my mind frequently, just roll the dice.
You don't even watch it right now, right? You just cover it.
I just pretend. I see red chests, and I
remember there was a period in 2022 I didn't watch the matches. I fast forwarded through the matches.
That was your most crazed era. The concern it caused me to know that you, of all people, was no longer watching the actual wrestling matches was like that was the damage to the late night grid.
Fast forwarding, bro.
Dude, late night grid, that was the damage it did to you that first year. It was you were going at such a pace you no longer watch the wrestling matches, which is literally like your thing. It was awesome, bro. Awesome, absolutely awesome.
Oh man, that's funny.
All right, folks, don't DM me about Hugh Dragunov. I'm just playing around here. It's very good wrestling matches. His matches with Trick Williams were honestly some of the most staggering triumphs in recent memory. Those matches, each time I love Trick, but each time I watch him, those matches become more impressive.
Trick's fallen off some, let's be honest. And I love the guy.
He's just not that good, right? It makes those matches even funnier in hindsight because they were like legitimately really good matches.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Cal, how does the dynamic of Dom betraying Rhea work if Rhea loses before Priest comes out or vice versa? I think both will have Judgment Day interference. Okay, Cal, I'm actually going to use this to transition to. Chris said, and he kind of links these two together. We'll get to his second prediction now. But firstly, he says, everyone and their brother is on Gunther's side. I would not be surprised if Priest retains. If Gunther does win, I wouldn't be surprised if Judgment Day costs Priest accidentally. And later on, he says that, this could be a situation where they cost both Priest and Rhea and kind of, quote, finish the job in this sort of infighting with the Judgment Day. How do you think these two finishes are kind of tied to one another? Because if you're going to do the big Dom betrayal, you kind of got to do that match after the Priest match because otherwise it's too big of a part of his story, right? Unless you do the whole thing of Dame Priest is distracted. I guess you could. I don't know, Bob. How do these two things work? Are they both going to have interference with the Judgment Day?
I actually think Dom might stay with Rhea, and the kind of big thing is like Finn goes with Liv. But if we do want to say just Dom does betray Rhea, then I don't know, because it would almost be like you should do the same finish twice, but you absolutely should not do the same finish twice. That'd be stupid. So, I'm on board with the Judgment Day accidentally costing Priest. I'm kind of less on board with it for Rhea. I think Rhea should just win.
Wow, really? Yeah. I don't think we'll get into it in a second, but I don't think you have much chance of that happening here, to be honest.
That's fair.
I could be wrong.
No, I mean, again, I think they're going to have more than one match, obviously, but I would just flip it back to Rhea right now.
Yeah, I actually think they're just getting started with that, but I understand what you're saying. Oracle, how do you think these two finishes, we're about to get into Liv and Rhea, actually, how do you think these two finishes are tied to one another?
I think they do Riv Leah. Good Lord. Liv Rhea later in the show. I think I don't know. They don't really do backstage segments that much anymore, but they might do a Judgment Day one.
Clubhouse, new Clubhouse.
Yeah. I think Rhea wins here.
Wow.
Well, no.
Isn't that crazy?
No. Sorry.
Okay. All right.
I've lost my train of thought.
Okay. That's the best of them.
Dom's turning. Because Liv's retaining here and Dom's turning. So
yeah. Liv's definitely winning.
Yeah, I sorry, I lost my train. I don't know why I was.
Yeah, that's right.
I was thinking of for some
reason, Dragunov.
I eliminated all the entire storyline out of my head and was just like, oh, Rhea would definitely beat Liv.
That's
really what I was thinking, and then I was like, oh yeah, the storyline.
Wow.
No. Liv's retaining, Dom's turning. I do think there's something going on with Liv and Finn, but I think that I don't know. Maybe it might be too layered for Triple H to book something like this, though.
He's a big layers guy, bro. Layers, isn't it? Big layers guy.
Not as layered as he thinks he is. But I don't see my only and here I am attacking Bobby just for like.
Oh my God, Bob's just getting the shit kicked out of him.
The biggest issue I have with Bobby's theory is Dom Mysterio should never be a babyface. So
yeah, fair.
Dom and Rhea as a babyface versus Finn and Liv, and not. It just doesn't work. That would be my biggest argument against that. I think this is a Dom dumping or not dumping, but saying mean things to Liv a couple weeks ago was his setup to turn on Rhea tomorrow, and that's the big thing. I've been thinking that for weeks. I literally blanked. Like, I don't know what happened. I just forgot about all storylines and picked Rhea because I was just thinking of Rhea versus Liv. I did not consider any of the storylines. I don't know what happened. But yes, Liv is absolutely retaining and yeah.
Okay. All right. How do you what does this match look like? Do you do a short match that Rhea dominates and then you do the finish? How do you do this match? Because look, folks,
they're gonna go 15 minutes, bro. I don't know what they're gonna do.
How are they gonna do it? How?
We'll gotta have 15 minutes. Go out there and. Yeah.
It sounds like Stu Hart. I just don't know. I haven't got any issue with Liv. But how is she going to cut? What is she going to do to Rhea as a babyface? It's very difficult to see this, how they're going to wrestle this match, I just don't know. Bob, agent it for me. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I kind of like your idea of just Rhea kind of dominates and Liv gets a roll-up or something, or Dom distraction or something.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of is how you have to do it. I know Oracle's kind of doing a bit, but kind of not. I don't see how you get 15 minutes out of it.
Well, it's brought up in the chat, the shoulder, which is an Achilles heel for Rhea, which is
I
used
think
for.
we're going to do a thing where, Rhea, dominates and Liv, basically pulls a Larry Zbyszko for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, starts to throw Liv around some. Rhea hits a corner post. Liv works the shoulder a little bit.
It sounds
they work a match here. I think they're going to work a match. I think they're going to do near falls and stuff. I legitimately think they're going to work a match.
It sounds like a
minutes, and Dom's going to cost Rhea.
It sounds like a 2017 Lexi 2 3/4 to me. If we get some limb work from young Liv,
I'm telling you right now, I think that's what they're going to do.
And let me be clear. This is not a reflection of Liv. At matchups, if Rhea's the heel here, they've had good matches for. It's an easy dynamic. Liv's a good bumper, and she could be a babyface. Yeah. It's just a more challenging dynamic when you have such a physical. There's such a difference in terms of you feel like Rhea's going to be dominant here. It doesn't mean they can't come out of a way. The shoulder gives them a route for sure. Yeah, interesting. We'll see what it looks like. So, Oracle, your finish is Dom costs Rhea, right?
Yes. Yeah, I still don't know what happened to my brain when my initial.
You thought you were doing a UFC.
Literally what I've been thinking for weeks. I don't know what happened, but yes,
Bob,
Dom costs Rhea.
What do you think?
Again, it's tough. It's just I genuinely don't know. I gotta see, because again, the matches they are so tied together. It's I don't know what the kind of who's going where.
It's a preview show, mate. This is not the time for indecision.
No, I know. I still think Finn and Liv make sense, but Oracle's right where Dom shouldn't be a babyface. So if Dom ends up on his own,
Jake's kind of right. I think there's going to be a double judgment. There's going to be a Judgment Day Civil War coming.
Yeah.
Because Triple H, for some reason, loves civil wars between factions.
Well, you could do. The thing is, you could either do the Finn turn later, or you could do the Dom turn later. You could have Finn cost Rhea here, and Rhea still thinks Dom's
Corn, and then
eventually you could scare, because I think Oracle's point is undeniably correct in that. Dom as a babyface, you might as well just burn the roster spot. He's so valuable as a heel. Mm-hmm. It's a total waste. And in theory, he gets even more heat if he goes with Liv, right?
Especially if he's not even gets to be with Liv and Finn's with her,
Yeah.
It's even more of a loser dirtbag move.
Right. So Chris said more Judgment Day shenanigans. This in regards to Liv and Rhea. More Judgment Day shenanigans. The obvious result is Dom siding with Liv after all. Yes, indeed. Could also see what I said about Judgment Day costing Priest seemingly on accident. Okay, so this is what I was referencing earlier. So the idea being that maybe, the Priest finish appears to be on accident and then it's confirmed to be part of a wider plan in this match. You could do something with that. Yes?
Hold on. Let me help Jake here and try and formulate his theory here, okay? What if Dom, it seems too, it makes Dom too smart, I think, but what if Dom, no, you could have it where this is the thing we're actually talking about. You could have it where Dom is the lead of that broken faction.
What?
He's the one who told Finn to cover up for him, and act like.
These are those layers you were talking about.
Yeah, there's layers. Or it could just be that Liv told Finn to.
Are you talking about Judgment Day Wolfpack right now? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I'm trying to help Jake's theory out that Finn
I like it.
That Finn may not have as much of a role as I'm implying here, and maybe it's that Liv's the leader of this new group, right? She's infiltrated and part of her Liv Morgan revenge tour, and she's infiltrated and has manipulated both Finn and Dom, and they're just players in her game, and they're just pawns in her game.
It could be that.
That seems like the more likely scenario here, right?
That makes sense. Or it could be her and Finn are playing everyone, and Dom is just a pawn in the game.
Yeah.
So where Dom goes with Liv, only to eventually it's revealed that he was getting played all along. She's actually with Finn, and then Dom could do remember the Happy Corbin thing? Where he was just a bum, he was just a complete loser. I mean, Dom would put up, the numbers he would do with that gimmick, right? Could you imagine Dom?
That's true. Yep, Kale's right. Yep. Rhea and Liv are the leaders here of the factions.
What about JD McDonough? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is interesting. I mean, I don't know how interesting it is, but I'm convincing myself it's pretty interesting. I do like all the different moving pieces of the Judgment Day, unless we forget the clubhouse was destroyed.
It was.
That's right. Who destroyed the clubhouse?
I mean,
Carlito, awful in the ring, but he's funny in those segments.
He's good in the skits, yeah. Good in the skits. He actually does add to the skits, legitimately.
He does.
Yep. Yeah, interesting. It's an interesting. I got Liv by Dom interference. Maybe honestly, what they do, I don't know if we've already said this, we've gone for a million, but maybe what they do is Finn costs Priest, Dom costs Rhea, but they those two things happen separately, and then on Raw, the longest running episodic television show, that's where you can web these things, There's a lot of room here, folks. Get Gwurtz on the line. I'm sure he's got some ideas. Interesting. But you're excited for the match, though, Oracle, right? You fired up. Rhea's back.
I'm super excited for this. This match and another match with a guy from Chicago. I'm super excited about. Yeah, but there you go, Jake. But yeah, this is one of the two matches I'm super excited for.
Yeah.
I don't expect high quality out of this. I would like to see good heat. And if they go 15 minutes, the heat could be affected here. Let's be honest. Especially depending on car placement.
Yeah,
really important, especially for a big show like this that's going to go probably 4 hours and 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, something like that. 4, 8, 10 hours. So.
It's going to be 10 hours. The damn pre-show is 3 hours long. Which, I mean, nobody's all going to... I mean,
yeah,
I'll have it on, but I'll be at my brother's and, playing with my nephew and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to be... I mean, it'll be on, but I still think it's insane to do a 3 hour pre-show.
What are they, sincerely, because, I mean, I don't care. I'm not going to watch it either, but, what are they actually going to do to fill 3 hours?
I think it's just a panel, rotating panelists.
Yeah,
hey,
I guess
we've got a panel. We've only been on for an hour and 5 minutes. Bob and I have had an argument. We've done about 8 different finishes for the women's title. It's hard work. 3 hours, man.
Yeah.
Years. We used to do the 4-hour grin. I took years off my life doing that shit. Who they
Apparently
got doing
Punk's
it?
going to be on the pre-show too, like he always is.
Oh,
He's
good Lord.
basically Draymond Green. Punk is. That's what he is.
All right. Thank you for the super chat, Gal, as always. Right, we have some others here. Simon says Gunther, Punk, Priest, and Drew, Gunther, Punk, Drew, and Seth. It'd be nice if I read the names in front of me. In a 4-way, why not? Simon, I haven't got an issue with that, but Bob probably does. He gets very aggressive about this sort of thing. So, Bob, what's the issue with that, mate?
No, it rules.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Right? So I can't do Gunther versus one of the three, but if I do all three, it's brilliant. Great idea.
That's right. Yep.
There you go. Congratulations, Simon.
Simon's right about that. Michael Cole's definitely going to report on the weather and make a remark about it's a lot hotter here than it was in Philly back in April. Because they can't let go of that.
Do you remember the chart where it had feels like? It was like the temperature and then it feels like. It was fucking awesome. Yeah, that's very funny. Grant Hudson. Hello, Grant. He says, assuming, why am I not reading the words in front of me? Why am I like adding them and making them up as I go? Assuming Drew wins tomorrow and Punk makes it out healthy, do you think they'll do the rematch of Punk Drew at the Bash? And if so, what does Seth Freakin do? I kind of think they do Punk and Seth. Well, great question, but Oracle, we'll get into this in, but we should let Bob go first because I know he feels very strongly about these matters. Bob?
No, I think they'll do the rematch of Punk Drew at Bad Blood.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
I think Punk Seth's going to be Mania.
Really?
I do.
Not sure. Interesting. Oracle, what do you think?
I think they're having a triangle feud.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to stick with it, even though, Punk Drew would make sense at Bad Blood. I think they're doing Seth Drew in Berlin, and I think they're doing Punk Seth at Bad Blood.
Yeah, I actually agree.
I don't think Punk's going to work a cell match. I think it's going to be Punk and Seth at Bad Blood. I think it's going to be Cody and Randy Orton at Bad Blood in the cell.
Okay.
There's another match that could be in the cell at Bad Blood. Taking it all. The Fun Man, the Tribal Chief versus the original Tribal Chief.
Oh, yeah. Very true. Yeah. They could do double cells, too.
Let's be honest. I mean, folks, say what you will, but there's absolutely a chance to sell matches Roman and Solo. I mean, it is what it is.
That political situation is going to be very interesting with Cody and Roman on the same show.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. I wonder where Cole Anderson and Luke Gallows fit in. Very interesting. Thank you for that, Grant. I hope you're well. Jumanji Hunter, whoops. Whoops. Is that how you spell whoops?
There's usually an H in it.
So that's why I said whoops, you see. I thought it was a reference to the popular energy drink, the sponsored Rampage. Whoops, joined late. Triple H on cruise control too often. Get his ass. Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Hello, Jumanji Hunter. Thank you for the super chat. We talked about it earlier. It's an interesting time. There's a little bit of frustration brewing. We'll see. I think Saturday, tomorrow, whenever it is a big show in that regard. I think they're setting up things that are significant, actually, in terms of what the rest of this year looks like, right? With Roman coming back, there's a lot of big things that are going to happen here. So with that in mind, let's move ahead. Thank you for the super chats, folks. Appreciate it very, very much. Okay. Let's talk about it. The cult of personality. Pepsi Phil. The collision captain. CM Punk is back. We have said the words CM Punk is back an embarrassing amount of times in the history of the Late Night Grin. The show launched in response to his debut at the First Dance. That was the pilot episode. Mm-hmm. And we had a great time covering that really triumphant ride. And then things took quite the turn, and then he was back a few more times. and he's been gone a lot and all. And this year, what he has pulled off, whether you like him or not, folks, and I understand that he is very controversial. What he has done this year is one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen a grappler manage. In that, if you was to tell the story of 2024 wrestling, it sure feels like in real time he is one of the main characters of the year. It feels like he has been central at every turn to the year, which is incredible considering that he's wrestled one match and it was a Rumble where, let's be completely transparent, I don't think I'm being unfair. We're all CM Punk fans on this screen, but he did not look particularly good in the Royal Rumble. He looked pretty bad.
He was pretty bad.
He was pretty bad in the Rumble.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's his only appearance as an in-ring, as a professional wrestler, belt to belt. That's his only appearance this year. We are in August. And yet, this is the biggest match on the show, I think.
Yep.
I think this is the biggest match. I mean, I don't want to talk out of turn. I know he had Cardiff. I think in a lot of ways, this is the biggest match of Drew's career. I really do. I really believe that. I really do. Now, Roman, Cardiff, sure, maybe. But this is different to that. This isn't British wrestler, main events British wrestling show. This is the culmination of this year arc he's had, this big-time heel turn that has, let's be honest, transformed Drew McIntyre. Last year at SummerSlam, he had a match with Gunther that was ice cold. He felt like a babyface on his way out of the promotion. Here, he's one of the top guys in the entire industry, and he's red hot and has been for most of the year, and this feud is central to that. There's a lot of moving pieces. We've got Seth freaking Rollins as a special guest referee. I have some serious concerns. I also have a lot of hope and optimism. This one's pretty much make or break for me. This is the match I want to see. Very excited to talk about. Bobby, where you at? CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, talk us through it.
Okay, so just going piece by piece. I don't love Seth's involvement. You know, I know they're doing Triangle Feud. I think he could have been involved down the line. I don't love him in the first match. I think Drew and Punk did more than enough to build it, and just getting him included is what it is. Drew, I'm with you. He's doing probably the best work of his career. He's done a great job keeping it hot when Punk wasn't around. He's done a great job with social media, which, that can be hit or miss, but I think he's had more hits than misses in that regard.
For sure.
And then for Punk, you don't want to be dramatic and it's going to sound dramatic, but his legacy is kind of on the line. It's not. It's obviously, it's secure. And I'm doing a Skip Bayless bit because he retired. Today, so, but if he gets hurt again or whatever, that's probably it. As far as being a big time main eventer, he can come back and do whatever, but you can't really. I don't want to say you can't trust him because it's not a guy's fault when he gets hurt, obviously, but you can't really stake your future in him any more than it's already maybe not the best idea when he's 45 or whatever. But he's a huge draw. But if he can't get through this without getting hurt, then yeah, you really do have to have a tough conversation kind of about his future.
You do. It's a difficult conversation to have for a range of reasons. Firstly, for the reason that you mentioned there, and I know you're very aware of this, is why you said it. It's the injury-prone conversation it often gets quite out of hand in the way the phrasing people use, right? Yeah. It's a slippery.
That's not just wrestling either. That's the NBA.
No,
that's everything.
No, certainly not. And that's not something any of us want to kind of do in a Skip Bayless fashion, even though I appreciate the tribute. I think there is absolute truth. I think legacy game is the wrong phrasing in that.
Yeah, it is.
But I think your point is absolutely on the money in terms of this does feel pivotal to who he's going to be in this part of his career. CM Punk had some really good matches in 2023. However, it was noticeable that he had fallen. There was a decline from what he was before he got hurt in the Moxley match to who we got on Collision. He was good on Collision. And I like his matches with Joe. I liked some of his stuff with the FTR, of course. But you could tell that he was not quite as sharp. Not to say he was ever, Ilya Dragunov, folks, but he wasn't quite as sharp. And you do worry we're another year down the line. We're another injury down the line. And you do worry about it. I mean, I do. I don't know. Oracle, where do you stand?
Skip Bayless would totally call it a legacy game, and he would do the whole bit where he would like
he'd be so pro Punk.
You know, he'd do the whole where he'd slam his fist on the.
His conclusion would totally be that Punk's going to pull it out, though, right? He'd be a huge. I feel like he'd be all in.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a heck of a build. I mean, the Seth stuff does make sense. But he was, with the injury, and I also don't think that they expected him to come back when he did. And, he just sort of got healthy, all of a sudden. I mean, I don't know, but like, so they just sort of began booking Punk Drew without him.
Mm-hmm.
And that became the focal point. So when he came back, it felt really forced. My biggest concern with Seth's involvement in this match is he needs to be a Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 97. He does not need to be Gene Kiniski at Starrcade 83.
Deep cut, yes.
He really has to be muted here, someone pointed out in the chat. I can't stress that enough. If he barks orders the whole time, and it's just, I think it will severely hurt the match. And yeah, I'm biased. I think he fucking sucks. I think Oklahoma fucking sucks. So like that, the bias is there. I can't remove
You're
that.
allowed to be biased, dude. Don't worry about it.
But like, he's got to be muted here. Like, he can't constantly try to get himself over the entire time. It could really hurt the match.
Agree.
I think this match could be awesome.
I agree.
I think this match could be terrible.
Wow.
I think there's going to be a lot of heat nonetheless. I kind of struggle with who's going to win. I could see a deal where Seth costs Drew and Punk wins.
Really?
Or I could see the other way around where Seth costs Punk and Drew wins. I think Seth is going to be the decider here in the finish, which I also am a little bit critical of. I think, I'm not even opposed to the triangle feud. I just think it could have waited. I think they could have had their singles match and
It's just, I think what worries us is that you don't want this match after all of this built 7 months. Yeah, and I don't think that is even a negative like Seth. I think that's just, you want the feud to be its own thing because it's been its own thing.
He was hurt for 4 months.
Yeah,
like. Let them have their match. Of course, the thing with Punk, like, I mean, the dude's arms don't look any smaller than they were before.
He looks pretty big, which worries me a little bit. But hopefully, look, it goes without saying, we're all desperately hoping he makes it through because the game is better for when he's around wrestling. I really do hope he's okay. He comes out of this okay and he can have a real run.
Yeah, same. Because, I really do think this match, I anticipate this match to be super entertaining at the least, I think. But I think the bad part could be that it could be just entertainingly like, like, oh man, this is,
really?
What I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not, I feel like I've inserted a fear in Joe's mind now, and he seems slightly concerned. But I'm just trying to be realistic here.
No, it's fine. You've not inserted.
The crowd will be awesome. I think the heat for this will be tremendous, and that's kind of what I'm most excited for. Is I think because they've built this so well, even with the Seth involvement. I think the crowd will really eat all that stuff up. I struggle with who's going to win. I think Drew wins here with Seth costing Punk. And then they do Seth and Punk in Germany. Or no, Drew and Seth in Germany.
And then Punk comes back for Bad
and
Blood.
then Punk comes back for Bad Blood in Atlanta. Yeah.
I agree on the finish. I can't say you've inserted the thought in my mind because it's been there. You've just kind of unlocked it and unleashed it here at 5:26 a.m. One of the things, while we're getting really deep into the details and getting granular, as Jeff Jarrett would say, Bob, one of the things that I find challenging about this is they have been great rivals for one another.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done a great job with it. In my head, I don't imagine them as natural dance partners bell to bell. That doesn't mean they can't be natural dance partners. The beauty of chemistry is you never quite know. But in my brain, when I try to look at this matchup, it doesn't strike me as a particularly natural one, personally. Now, with Drew as the heel, you do have a pretty clear direction to take, right? Drew's going to be kind of the bully, and they established this week, Punk talking about, Drew's the stronger man, the fresher man, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a babyface. He's going to be hard and grit, which makes sense. CM Punk is very underrated among all timers when it comes to a professional wrestling brawl. He's great at that, and he never gets the credit. I think in my view, he's always been underrated in terms of that part of his game.
He's a great babyface, man. Like in terms
Yes,
of spelling and stuff. I think he's great.
Yes, which is lost a lot because people prefer the character as a heel, and I understand that. But his in-ring is great as a babyface, and I think him selling and being fiery and gutsy, defiant.
Do you think Punk will blade here? I kind of lean towards yes, but
I hope so. I'm not sure.
They're weird about it. Like they'll do it now, but I don't know. They're really like careful about it now.
They are. I guess my question would be, and we're going to find out in about 24 hours.
Has the say so to do it. I think.
Probably, yeah. I think so. Do you think Drew McIntyre would be at home in the kind of brawl that I visualize when I think of the CM Punk? Where they're brawling through the people. Like, do you think that's St. Drew? Have we seen him do that? I'm not saying he can't do it, folks. I'm asking here sincerely. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'd be good at it. I don't really remember any specific instances of him doing it, but he seems like a sort of guy who could handle that pretty well.
Maybe the Sheamus stuff?
Yeah.
What's the question here?
Drew in the kind of wild brawl with a frenetic, chaotic brawl. Have we seen him do a lot of that stuff ever? Because I think this might be what Punk's shooting for here.
The Sheamus stuff is the closest stuff, like Bobby said, right before Mania 37,
right?
Which was great.
Yeah.
I listen. If they have a bloodbath, I'm going like 4-5 on it, dude.
Oh, bloodbath would be great. Yeah, I believe when I see it.
I have doubts because there would be. I don't have doubts that Punk will blade or, but I mean, if both guys bladed and they had a bloodbath, I'd fucking lose my mind. Like that's what I want to see, honestly.
Dude, all three of the grinners on screen here want this match to be a classic.
Yeah.
I think we all do, right? Like,
yeah, it's the match I care about on the show.
The build has earned that. It's just even it for me it depends on Rollins and how muted he is, and then just if Phil can hold himself together physically, and if that stylistic clash that you said meshes better than what it might feel like on paper, I mean, I think this could be pretty great. I mean, Punk's mind for wrestling is
superb.
Wrong, so
almost unmatched at his best. He hasn't made it. He hasn't been shy about it. It's kind of got out there, and he even posted a shot on Instagram. It seems like one of the inspirations for what he has in mind here is the Great American Bash Flair Funk match. Which, again, the thing that I just keep thinking is, I think there are ingredients there that if he pulls from them, this could be an absolute classic.
Yeah.
The pace and the heat will decide how high it climbs. That's what comes to my mind. So we'll see. I'm very excited to find out, though. This is pretty much make or break for me on this show. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I need this match to be good, to be honest.
Yeah.
Trust the Process asks, thoughts on Punk Drew being for lineal AEW title. It's an interesting call. Yeah, the real world title. Maybe you could bring it out, Bob. What do you think?
I think they should. Really good bit.
Maybe they could just give one of the tag belts to him and blur it out.
That would be good, yeah. That's a Ric Flair reference, folks. That's not like a Collision spoiler or something. Oh. Thank you, Trust the Process. I did some of these Skip Bayless quotes. Quote, CM Punk means more to Chicago than LeBron ever meant to Cleveland. This
Totally would say that.
100%. The Chosen One has turned into the Frozen One at SummerSlam. Also accurate. And Stephen A., I acknowledge Solo as my tribal chief. Thank you, Trust the Process, for those last goals. That's excellent work.
Would he be a Solo fan?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, could you imagine him obsessing about Jacob Fatu?
Oh, my God. Telling a story about how he once covered Umaga at ringside. He thought he'd never see anything like it again. They'd have Colt Bauer on as like an expert to discuss Jacob Fatu's ceiling. And that'd be awesome. Kartik says, since Punk Drew peaked a bit early, where do you feel it is placed into the best storylines of the year? I still feel like it's 5-star build because nobody other than Cody, Rock, and Sting Bucks scouted these sides.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely
yeah.
There isn't. I mean, it's a really weak. The feuds are kind of a lost art. I think. Yeah, before the bells even rung, it's among the best of the year. If they have the best version of this match, it will win it with a bullet, I think, on tomorrow night's show. So, yeah, I agree with you completely. It's peaked early, but that doesn't. I think that's more of a credit to how well they did previously. They've done a great job with this, which is why, as you notice, folks, we've kind of pondered a lot of the details here because I think we're desperate for this thing to deliver. I'm excited, though. Punk is always great when Punk is in the game. I love what he brings in terms of that. There's a raw excitement, I think, when CM Punk's about to wrestle. Yeah, very excited to see what he comes up with. All right, Grant, back again. Thank you, Grant. He says, since Bob brought him up, question for the panel. With his last show being early today, we'll be seeing Skip Bayless of your undisputed fame bring his talents to LNG. Negotiations are underway. There are some issues in terms of the role that Skip wants to play, the late night Grin. And there's someone on this screen who has a popular talk show who had famous guests such as Sean Ross Sapp and, he's John Alba, just to name a few. He would like to take that talk show over, and there's someone on this screen who's very hesitant about that. So that's the current hold up. I don't know if you want to comment on that, Bob, or not.
No, I don't think at the moment it's right to do that. But, there have been talks. We'll see where they go.
I think maybe you should, put the team first and just let him do the 31 with Skip Bayless or... Just saying, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the license to do the second series of that show 2 years ago.
Questions, my friend.
Stupid questions, especially the super chats. Kartik asks, but is it possible for Punk to be past his prime on the mic at 45? Yes. Who else would you rank among the top wrestling minds of Punk? Brian and Kenny? Cody also seems to have it for angles. Cody has a good feel for angles. Cody can get lost in his... He can overcomplicate things at times and try and have 3 matches at once. Revisit the Logan Paul match for evidence of that. Very different type of wrestling mind. Kenny Omega for the mechanics physically and the creativity in ring is astonishing. I definitely agree with him being on that list. Bryan Danielson has a raw understanding of wrestling. That would be the best way to put it. CM Punk is a master of like classical US wrestling, right? And like the way you do angles, the way you pace matches, so on and so forth. Trying to think of other names that you would say. Great wrestling minds.
He's definitely lost his touch a little bit on the mic.
Yeah. Well, that does happen though. That does happen.
It happens.
I don't think it's a stupid question at all. I mean, look at someone like Roddy, dude. There was absolutely decline with Roddy's pro. You go up and down in there. Now, I don't think it's so much a decline in skill so much as it is. He currently is very much he's kind of playing the hits and being a legend, right? He's being a WWE legend.
Correct.
And I think if he ever does turn heel, which is a big if, I think you would see him change things slightly. Right now, he's a WWE legend. The same, he's kind of like what Savage was. I said this for you, Oracle, before. Kind of what a Savage was in the New Generation era. Roddy Piper in 1991. You know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's the way I kind of see. I mean, here's a great example of what we're just discussing. Before this year, Dwayne was watching the mic because Dwayne was doing exactly what we just described, right? And then when he turned heel.
Speaking of, there was that
transformed.
question, Netflix question. I'm bringing it up now. Someone says, "Who's going to drop the first F-bomb?" Well, there's one guy who will, and that's him.
Oh, yeah.
For a fact, Dwayne's going to be in the Mania build. Go, shut the fuck up, or whatever. He's going to. It's going to,
Yeah.
They're not going to be cussing up a storm. There'll be a lot of unedited shits. That's what I will say.
Yeah,
I think so.
Say bullshit. Seth Rollins will say bullshit, and everybody will go, "Oh my god!" Like, and it'll be
Jay Styles. All right.
It did kind of sound like Joey Styles, didn't it?
It did. Stu Hart, Jay Styles, playing all the hits tonight. I like it. Thank you for the question, Cot. It was not stupid at all. We actually agreed. Jumanji Hunt, the worst possible booking decision at SummerSlam. I mean, I'm going to have my fun in a minute, but it's got to be Big Solo winning it. It's got to be.
For sure.
Solo winning and Roman coming out to challenge him after would be like one of the craziest things ever.
Could you imagine?
Yes,
Solo
I've been imagining.
Vince Cody, and then then someone takes a pic of Contrarian Alex in his Hawaiian shirt. Right as the 3 hits.
I think that's the easy answer. Slim Reaper, who's a wrestler you know is me, but you just can't quit. Dude, that's like my fucking whole favorite wrestler list. That's like my specialty. Take your pick. I had a very funny tweet tonight regarding one of them. The Butcher, I still tune in when the Butcher, like, I watched the Butcher Suzuki match, and I was like, why did I watch this? I don't know, man. The Butcher. He's my actual answer, legitimately. Who's
maybe? Like, I'll still watch a Miz promo, you know? I mean, the Miz was legitimately really
good.
He
was good, yeah. I agree. IC champ Miz was good.
He's very, very mid now. I mean, come on. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah, he sucks now. It happens, doesn't it?
I'll probably...
I feel like there's got to be someone that's like...
There's someone more like...
Yeah.
More than the Miz, though. There's like a...
Who's a proper shitty wrestler that you pop for? There's got to be someone we're not thinking of here. Do you remember when you did that tweet in 2022 where you were like, here are the actual good wrestlers, and then the second tier was like pop. Like, they're not good, but they're funny. Do you remember this tweet? Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It was good times. I mean, not really good times at all, but yeah. Yeah, interesting. Bob, yours have got to be Karrion Kross, right?
Yeah, I was trying to think, like...
Austin Aries.
I don't really like many wrestlers, so that's what makes it tough.
Jesus!
Wait a second.
I would have said LA Knight, but I like him now, so... And
he's not mid, bro.
Quite good. I don't like Jey Uso, so he doesn't count.
You hate Jey Uso. So nasty.
I mean, I like Shelton for a lot longer than he was still good, but he's figured it out on his independent run, so he's back.
Figured it out?
Yeah, he doesn't lose.
49 years young, he's cracked the code.
Who would it be for me? Now you've got me thinking about this.
Oh, dude, this got to be a million and one. I mean, you and I asked, like, this is our thing. Popping for wrestlers that no one else cares about.
I know historically, Ice Train's a big one for me.
There you go.
God bless, dude. I became a big JC Jane fan because I see her take a good flat back on Tuesday. It's one of my new ones.
She's not that bad now.
She's got better, yeah. She's got better, and Booker T likes her.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll circle back on that, baby. Oracle, if something comes to mind. Thank you for the question. That
Lola
popped us
Vice
in.
is pretty mid, kind of.
She's a prospect, though.
Yeah, that's true. It's too harsh because she's so green.
Yeah, she's a prospect.
Somebody. See, now I'm stuck on this now.
Solo Sikoa. Jumanji
Grayson
Hunter.
Waller kind of pops me. He's pretty.
There
mid.
you go. That's a good one. That's good.
He's
Jumanji
a good
Hunter.
heel, though. He's just like mid in the ring, you know.
He's
sucks,
okay.
but
Yeah.
like I don't know,
He does forward rolls. Forward rolls. Ibou's one drives me nuts. Every fucking AOP. Oh, every time AOP wrestle, he's convinced they're going to turn into the Miracle Violence Connection. They're no good.
No, they're bad now.
Jumanji Hunter. Whoops. Misspelled. Whoops. Coach Holbert needed for Solo. Look, you're crazy if you think he needs my advice when he's got Tangaloa at ringside. Come on, man. Tangaloa with the eye patch. Incredible coach. Incredible coach. All right. Thank you for that, Jumanji Hunter. The chat is hilarious right now. All right.
Bayley.
Bayley? What about Bayley? What, mid-wrestler are you talking about? Or
No.
what
Is that the next match?
We have another super chat. Cal, MJF in Arena Mexico calling us illegals. # okay. I don't have a comment on that. Bob, do you?
Seems like it's going well.
Is that happening now? Is he wrestling in Arena Mexico now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was tonight.
Interesting. All right. Chris's pick for Punk and Drew is also the SummerSlam 97 finish.
See, my problem is
yeah.
With Max is I'd be like, yeah, it'd be bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll cross that bridge when he comes on. Bayley versus Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Title of the Worlds.
What big dude said?
We have an NXT Takeover London rematch here. 9 years later, as we all predicted. Bayley, the world's champion, she won the belt, of course, at the WrestleMania, and has had a bit of a. I mean, you know, like she's been around. She's not really been featured very much from my money. She's kind of just floated around. And I think what the matches she's had, I think she has made the most of, but I don't think she's had much opportunity to do, you know, anything spectacular. Nia Jax has had a really good year. But I have to be honest, it feels like there's a version of this match that if placement is not very flattering, I think this could really struggle, to be honest, in a stadium. Yeah. I don't think this has a ton of juice going in. Now, if it goes on early, Bayley is a very good professional wrestler and Nia is in the form of a life. They might have a really good match. They really might. Tiffany Stratton, of course, looms with the new pink briefcase. Torn on this one, Bobby. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Bayley's going to retain. I'm kind of with you. Like the first 2 or 3 matches of the show is probably where this one needs to be. You know, it was 9 years ago, obviously, like you said, but the match at TakeOver London, I think, was a lot better than it had any right to be. Nia's better than she was then. You know, Bayley physically isn't better than she was then, but I think, you know, is better at kind of putting things together now. So I do have high hopes for it. I think, you know, it could be good. And I hope it is good.
I think it could be too. I mean, I don't think the floor for this is low mechanically because Bayley is smart, and I think they're going to have a very logical match. The heat is going to be the X factor. You know, they could wrestle that logical match to silence, or they could wrestle it to a very raucous response. That's going to be the kind of key here. Bob, who did you pick? Did you pick someone? I'm sorry, I missed it. Bayley. Okay, thank you. Oracle, what do you think?
I think Nia's winning the title here. The Tiffany stuff has kind of put a wrench in that. I originally thought for sure she'd win. I'm still going to go with Nia winning the belt. They have good chemistry together, you know, historically. I'm not too worried about this, but I think what would hurt this match more than anything, as you mentioned, Joe, is the heat. I remember not to pick on Bayley too much, but remember she and Ember had that match 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
SummerSlam that just died, 10 minutes, and like I was excited for it at the time, and it
It was a shame.
like 12 matches on the card or some shit. So like it just died, no heat. Like that's the biggest concern for this match. Other than that, I mean, I'm just really excited to hear Nia's theme song, which I think is better than her old one. I've been bullish on that,
You have. I think Nia's going to win also. Chris Bourdine says he's flipped on this. Thought this was a Bayley victory, but Nia winning and having to constantly look over her shoulder at Tiffy would be good at TV. I think that's where they're going here. There are, of course, 2 sleeping giants waiting in the wings. One of them is, she's kind of good, I guess. Charlotte Flair, whatever. But the other one, is it time to stand up sharp and fight me at the SummerSlam? What do you think? Is Pam's backup her famed friend, Alexa Bliss? They've been allies on TV for years, right, Bob?
Hey, yeah. I mean, it'd be awesome. I don't think we're gonna get her. I think we are gonna get Charlotte, but she's close, man. She's coming soon.
I'm just kidding, folks. I think it's gonna be Charlotte also. Charlotte and Bayley, opposite Tiffy and Nia, and they could do some Charlotte Tiffany's. I think that's what we're headed to. I think Alexa will be a member of the White Six, who, by the way, I was robbed.
Charlotte's had like a really like crazy strong recovery, right? Because she was she was like standing like before Mania, right? She was walking and stuff before Mania.
I should know, actually. When I say Charlotte, I don't necessarily mean on this show. I mean more direction-wise, right? I think the return on this show is just... Yeah. I know you're aware of it.
I mean, she'll be back in the next month or two, right? Like,
I phrased it poorly, yeah. So I think it'll be coming sooner than later. I would like to know I was robbed of seeing the White Six on this broadcast, which I was told is a premium live event, and yet they're absent here. Bob, what do you have to say for yourself?
They're wrestling on Raw on Monday.
Yeah, who else wrestles on Raw?
Who's that?
The Final Testament.
It's true. Staying power.
Staying power. Here they're really getting over. Rocking and rolling.
Yeah, that whole thing's a shame. They've made the New Day very uninteresting, and I mean, they didn't. I mean, they've just kind of been uninteresting, but
it's not their fault. It's when you've been an act for that long. It's like it's important. It's the Big E part of it. It's just tragic, and it's just you can never get over it. It fucking sucks. I wish he was wrestling right now. I wish he was fucking the world's champion. Bums me out every time I even think of it. It bums me out. So I'm glad Woods and Kofi are still doing their thing, but it's hard, isn't it? It's difficult. Anyway, all right. Cody and Solo Sikoa, the match we've all been waiting for.
Bloodline.
Yep.
Rules.
2 of the great second-generation wrestlers of all time. Cody Rhodes, Solo Sikoa, the master of the spike. This has been, jokes aside, folks, people have been quite angry about this situation with Solo Sikoa. I've actually enjoyed him being the fake tribal chief, but I do understand that he's a pretty limited professional wrestler, so much to get into. As I send a link here to a friend of mine, I'll send it to Lord Oracle. What do you have to say about Solo and Code?
Well, I can't really knock the build. I thought it was excellent up until around Money in the Bank. And then I think they did a lot of repetition the repetition stuff, I think maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just, the world we live in, we're all impatient or whatever.
Yeah.
But, they took out Orton, they took out KO, they took out Cody 3 weeks in a row, the table spots, whatever. Kind of felt just, samey. But the Bloodline Rules thing really helps this one out.
Yes.
I had a hilarious exchange that I mentioned in the chats today at work.
Oh,
a guy just like a buddy of mine at work just like gleefully approached me when he left this afternoon. Was like, I hear Zilla fought twos in Cleveland.
It's so nasty, dude.
So like, people are into this stuff. I mean, with bloodline rules, you got to think there would be all sorts of interference with KO and Randy and whatnot, and
Yeah.
I would imagine that.
We're laughing here, folks. Ibou's here and he's informed us that the same thing happened to him, which is very funny. But Oracle, finish your point.
Yeah, go ahead, Or.
But there'll be all sorts of interference. Hopefully there's a little bit more of a twist to how they do things and execute things that they did at Mania, just because I don't want to see the exact same thing. But I mean, of course, we're all waiting for hopefully the big Roman return at the end, and that turns the tide for Cody, and Cody retains, and Roman's just kind of out for blood on Solo, and we get that running, and Cody retains. New Bloodline Civil War, maybe, and
Maybe just maybe.
That's my prediction, I think.
Okay, I don't know what Ibou's done since Wednesday, but like, you got booed coming in here. We don't usually do that. You work as a babyface in this territory. Do the people not follow the product?
Yeah, I'm not a heel on the late night Grin. It's not. I come in here for a nice little babyface hot tag. I'm not a star in this territory. I'm more just kind of happy to be here, and over there I'm like a star, but the fans hate me. I feel like MJF or something.
It's more like a Toronto crowd here. Like SummerSlam 2004 in your
Bizarro world.
Oakland.
Yeah, it's interesting. Usually I'm just kind of here. I'm like I'm 87 Tito Santana. Just like, hey, I'm forearm. But I'm happy you guys have let me on. Two things. Number one, Oracle, it's so funny you brought this up because more and more people at my job have now approached me about professional wrestling.
Dude, I've had so many people.
Right, and it's always funny to hear these opinions from the normie crowd or whatever you want to call them. And what's fascinating is when you read online discourse, they talk about fans aren't online and this is for the hardcore, so on and so forth. But what you come to find out is these WWE casual fans, they will look into things, but specifically based on their interests. So for example, I have a coworker approaching me. He is 37 years old, right? Normal man, has a wife and kids, right? You know what I mean? And he's approaching me. He's like, yo, my dude. Yo, they got this other dude, bro. His name is Zilla. Yo, he's nice, yo. He's nice. This dude's crazy. He does the spike, bro, but he jumps with his shit. You feel me?
He does though. He does.
Yeah. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And he's like, yo, he used to tag with Jacob, yo. They were going crazy. And I kind of, in a snarky way a little bit, I was like, so you watched them tag? And he was like, he hesitated, didn't want to lie, and went, I saw clips. And I was like, right. He was like, nah, but he jumps with his shit though. It's crazy. Yo, I think I know you be talking to them, right? I was like, oh yeah. He was like, ask if Zilla is gonna be at SummerSlam, yo. I think he might come. It might be, yo, you know what they might do? It might be The Rock and Zilla and you heard of Hikuleo? You heard of Hikuleo?
Oh fuck! No way.
I'm like, he's like, yo, he's from Japan. He's nice. And what occurs to me is why. So these people will do cursory research, but again, specifically for the feuds that they're interested. I'm sure they're just looking up what's next for the bloodline or something. They're getting cultaholic slideshows, I'd imagine. You know what I mean?
It's a real thing, dude. There's a misconception that the fan base is split into either reads everything on Twitter or doesn't consume any online. It's there is a huge middle ground. And the beauty of being WWE is the audience is so big. When the audience hears someone's kind of WWE, they just they become somewhat aware of who these people are. You see it, and that's why the guys get reactions. Tama Tonga, when he revealed you could tell some people knew he was because they'd read he's coming in, right? So it's like,
yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Same with Jacob Fatu. We were waiting for like it felt now it's funny like because Jacob's now been around for like 2 months roughly, but we were waiting. It felt like for an agonizingly long time to see Jacob on TV, and in that time, you know, everybody was anticipating it, and like casuals had it locked and loaded, and they clearly familiarized themselves at least a little bit to be able to react when he showed up. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there. One more thing. So you guys are talking about the Final Testament, and I got to say, you know,
fuck you.
We're not doing so great. No, struggling out there.
Internet connection beating his ass at the best time. Hell yeah. Is he back? Ibou, you there?
Yep.
The microwaves have finally got him. You
He
know?
started talking about Final Testament, and immediately his internet said, nope. I can hear you now, yeah.
It killed him.
Okay, he's gonna say, not the best start
He's
to the
gone.
season.
He's gone.
4-2 start. What the fuck?
Okay, go. Well, I think you're finally back. Go.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Am I here?
Yes,
Yep.
you're there.
Ooh, man.
I was gonna say not the best start to the season. 4-12. You know what I mean? Might have to fire the coach. But I gotta tell you, man, those AOP guys. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of Dr. Death, Steve Williams, and Terry Gordy.
Oh,
The Miracle Violence connection.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I think look, we're in year 8, right? I think year 9's the breakout. I think something's gonna finally get put together there, and we could finally see something going with these kids. You know?
Yeah. I think the one I'm still waiting for is Jake Hager. I think he's about to really click. Once he gets over the line, I think we can fully focus on the new Miracle Violence connection.
Yeah.
I want to see.
JR said that about every week.
I wish
He
I wish
did.
AEW let Jim Ross leave. Could you imagine an ornery and tired Jim Ross in hour 3
Yes.
of Raw commenting on Akam and Razor?
Dude, Triple H loves him some JR. There's no way he does Raw. There's no way. No way.
Could you imagine Jim Ross calling Damian Priest a kid?
The actual money is Jim Ross with Booker T doing NXT on the
Oh,
CW.
no.
I don't think Jim could handle that.
Where's Joe Tessitore, man?
Yeah,
That's not
surprised he's
that's
not
not
here.
good for that's not good for JR's health. NXT?
Yeah, it'd be fun.
I actually, because here's the thing, he'll get mad at like the pre-tapes and stuff. But then again, could you imagine Jim Ross live microphone on commentary when the women come out? Like that might be a little
Yes,
something.
I can imagine all of these things. He's been quite prolific in that regard. Quickly,
Right.
or Ibou, do you know when Joe Tessitore's coming in? Because Oracle's very fired up about this.
I don't. I know that I have 60 seconds. So, do you have any questions for me, Joe? Would you like me to give a prediction? Or
I
anything?
don't have a question. I'm just going to tell you an anecdote. You know, we're talking about Jim Ross at NXT.
Yes.
I'm going to paint a picture for you. Jim Ross gets to NXT, he sees all these young athletes, these NFL, these football players, and he's so fired up. He said, "Oh, this place is so much better." And then who debuts on the CW premiere?
Who?
Penta and Phoenix.
Oh,
Jim slams his headset down and storms off.
with you mean King Fuego, and you mean King Fuego and Cero Miedo.
Could you imagine Jim just enraged that suddenly he's in the same place he was watching Lucha Bros tags, getting really mad about it?
having to hear Vic Joseph go, tag rules are a little bit different, Jim Ross, and he's like, I've heard.
All right, Ibou, any final words, brother?
Bloodline rules might be really dumb, stupid fun. And I like that because of the stip, one of my concerns was eliminated because I thought, so is either Cody just going to beat this guy and then Roman comes out and he picks the bones of a loser? Or does Cody just lose and then now Roman's challenging the champion? But with Bloodline rules, Roman could be the final climactic run out. And then you get the big solo shocked face and then he gets to do the spear. And then Cody does the crossroads, so on and so forth. Cody escapes out of there. And then you go from there. We'll see how that turns out. Solo's not particularly good, but I actually do think the stipulation now gives the match much more upside. And I think depending on how they lay out the other staggered run-ins and brawls all over the place, you might actually capture energy here with this collection of people that we wanted from Money in the Bank from the 6-man that we didn't get on that 6-man. You might weirdly get it here in this match when 4 of those people won't even be in the match. So we'll see how it goes. And I don't know, SummerSlam, it may be good, it may not be good. Hopefully it's good.
Hopefully, mate. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by.
Miracle Violence Connection, AOP. Look into that, Take care, guys.
Right. I won't. Bye.
See you, bud.
See you, man.
There you go, folks. Ibou of Wrestle Purists, backup Hangman, all those many monikers.
I love how he came in to do an AOP bit.
As soon as I said it, I should have known he was going to. He's like Batman. The signal went up for him. By the way, I have to say, folks, the beauty of professional wrestling is, the audience can do whatever they want to do. Ibou's not a heel here, guys. We don't pay him. And all he does is pop our numbers. Please do not run him off from the late night. We had him on Wednesday. We did a huge house. It's our 4th most highest watched show ever. Take it easy, folks. It's just let's not get carried away here. So sometimes with those ECW crowds, Oracle, you got to be careful.
Right. Trev might be onto something here. I could see Heyman coming out in the neck brace and
maybe, yeah. Maybe. I want to make it clear, Cal, this is no longer true. Integrity we've erased from the rule book. Late night Grin. Just what I'm saying is that tomorrow, Wrestle Purists, that's Ibou's thing, and I get it. But let's not do that here, please, guys. Seriously, I'm just keep in mind moving forward. Plethora, All Hail Queen Nia, new champ. Well, maybe, just maybe. Bob didn't pick it. Bob, you mad about that? You've been mad a lot tonight. You mad about that?
Yep. Very mad.
Yeah. All right. This is very funny. Very cool. All right. 1 second. My finger's not working. Okay, Oracle, do you reckon you can do this? We've skipped Baylor's super chat. Do you reckon you pull this off? Try and get the dialogue down because this got a lot of potential. I'll try and do Stephen A.
You know how much respect I have for Paul Heyman. However, Solo Sikoa will prove tomorrow why he and not Roman is the true tribal chief and the one to carry the Inoue dynasty.
Oh, Jesus. Thank you very much. Skip Bayless and Oracle of Wrestling, which may be the same thing at this point. I don't know. There you go. Had delivered. Beautiful. All right. Bob, you haven't spoken about this yet, right? Cody and Solo, go for it, mate.
No, I have not. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think making it Bloodline Rules does add a lot to it, just because I was a little worried just a regular singles match. This one kind of opens it up a little bit to get some other shit involved. Listen, the bar for this match is to be better than Roman and Jay last year. Roman and Jay is one of the worst matches that we've seen, on a pay-per-view since Triple H took over. So the bar's low. This should be better than that. And
why is that the bar? Have you just decided that that's the bar?
Yeah.
Are people going to be leaving their seats and like, well, at least it was better than that shitty match last year?
Mm-hmm. No, listen, I think a big part of it is going to be too, everyone knows Roman's coming back. Everyone's just waiting for that. And that's another reason why I think making it Bloodline Rules makes it better, because there's kind of guaranteed to be more action that way. And it's not just going to be, chanting, "We want Roman" for 25 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, but, I agree completely. I agree.
Listen, there are obviously concerns. I don't know how good Solo is.
Please, guys, will you stop with this agenda?
I think Cody's good enough to make this work for what it's got to be. And again, personally, I can't wait for Roman to be back, so I will give the match a pass a little more than, if there's a big return last year for someone that I liked, I'd give that one a pass too, but there wasn't, and it was bad. So
wait? Oh, Jimmy. Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Uso, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it hurts my heart, to be honest. It hurts my heart, to be honest, you know. I come in here, I try my best. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and all I ask is for respect for our tribal chief. You know, look, maybe he's not as good as, you know, Umaga, Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, Yokozuna, Rikishi, Samu, and many other people, I'd imagine. But he tries his best. He tapes his thumb. I mean, at some point, you gotta accept this is where he's at, Bob. You know, Deuce or Domino. Thank you, Jake. Deuce was Snooker, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sim Snuka.
He's
In the legacy days.
Modest King's right. He's better than Manu. Definitely.
Probably better than Rosie.
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah,
You want to revisit the tape on that? Rosie could go.
That's fair.
I actually think, this is my genuine take, bits aside it, I think Solo is capable of more than we've seen because Paulie has turned him into like a sort of mannequin figure who just looks at his thumb. I honestly believe that. I think he showed in NXT he can do more. Exactly. But I think this match, to be totally clear, I think Bob nailed it when he said, if they did this as a traditional match, it would totally have just got the We Want Roman the whole time. This now should be so chaotic, so many pieces and so much craziness that I think it will be a really fun time. And let's be honest, the show needs that, right? The undercard is not strong enough to have a week event, I think it's fair to say. So there it is, the SummerSlam. We've all got Cody winning, right? Correct? Mm-hmm. The SummerSlam in the books. Chris Bourdin, he has been saying this legitimately since he's like maybe his second show on here. Cody wins. Roman returns afterwards to confront Solo Sikoa. When he first said that at the Backlash, we were all like, no, that's too far away. Well, we've made it. By hook or by crook, we've made it. So Chris was on the money, and he's sticking to his guns, as you would expect on that one. All right, folks. There it is. The SummerSlam. Any closing SummerSlam thoughts, Bob, before we do some plugs and get out of here? Bob, what's your own?
No, not really. You know, I'm looking forward to the show. I think it'll be a fun time. I usually just go offline and just kind of sit and try and enjoy it, which I have found that helps a little bit.
Just sit and try and enjoy it.
Yeah. So, that's been effective. You hope it's good. You hope the big fours are good in particular, because they mean something. And SummerSlam in particular was the second biggest show for a long time, and you hope it can get there this year.
What a lovely sentiment that was. This almost made me emotional, Oracle. He said these big four, they mean something. He's right, they do. They mean so. I appreciate it. All right, Oracle. Final thoughts on the SummerSlam, if you have any. That is.
I think it can be a good show.
Yes.
I think it could be pretty disappointing. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic in the sense that I think it'll be a pretty solid show, but I don't want to. I'm leveling my expectations here. Last year, granted, I wasn't thrilled for last year's going in, but last year's show was pretty bad, and
yeah.
I think they have better things lined up this year. It's just that the actual matchups bell to bell don't look quite as compelling. I guess they look better than last year's, but this year alone, they still don't look great. It's just, I think the storytelling and the booking and the potential ways they could go is a little bit more interesting than it was.
More interesting for sure, yeah. It felt like Jay and Roman was a dead end, and I think based on what they did, it was one. Really, I think that's one of the weaker moments in the bloodline. Not just the match, but the angle coming out of it. See, I agree. I think there's more to sink your teeth into coming out of it. I wish it was more enticing as a match card. And I will say, it just got brought up in the chat as I was just about to say it. I think that, we always talk about crowds because I think it's a huge part of wrestling. This show more than most big time wrestling shows would really benefit from an enthusiastic crowd.
I mean, we saw Tampa the Rumble, man. That was
Dude,
terrible.
Yeah.
If it's a crowd that's like that, this could be a bit of a slog. And I don't say that to be pessimist. I'm just being honest.
And Detroit last year was rough too. Although that partly that was just because the booking and the matches were not great. But
I mean, you mentioned the Rumble, the Final Four for the Rumble. They clearly expected it to be a massive moment, and they just sat there. You cannot have that's the beauty of this stuff. You don't know, right? But hopefully not. One last super chat before we get out of here. Plethora. Who next for Cody? Andrade or Omos?
Omos.
Go with Omos.
I miss Omos.
Same. I don't know what they're gonna do now. I mean, MVP is gone, and Omos he kind of needs a manager. Like, he ties the act together, and MVP was perfect for him. And
I don't think he. I mean, I don't see.
He's mostly just a house show guy anyway at this point.
Well, I don't want to talk out of turn. I'm not trying to, eulogize the guy's WWF run, but good God, we never see him. I actually thought Omos did a good job with those last couple things he was given. The match with Seth overachieved.
I think Cody and Randy's the fall program.
I do too, but what do you? Because that probably wouldn't be the immediate thing. What do you think the bridge is? Maybe he does just do a match of Andrade. You could actually probably pull that off. To be fair, just a babyface match.
But Andrade's a babyface.
Maybe they could do drop down tackles. He loves that. Cody loves those matches, and he could hold his arm up after. Look how mad Bob is, right? Look at Bob. Bob is literally enraged at me right now. Enraged. I'm just pitching matches, bro. God.
I don't know. I kind of think they're going to do an angle where Orton turns on Cody in 2 weeks, and they just do it in Germany, and then Hell in a Cell, Bad Blood.
Maybe so. We have another super chat. It's from Joey Bloodline. He says, Solo, my brother, I love you and I acknowledge you as my tribal chief. That's true. What is the R?
That's the theme song.
Oh, I thought it was an attempt at the UR business. I'm sorry.
Or maybe it is, but I just immediately, the theme song immediately came to mind.
I got you, yeah.
That's funny. So
that makes sense. I think you're right, actually. All right, folks, there it is. Late Night Grin 120 SummerSlam preview in the books. I'm going to try my best to do. So we have a couple of shows this weekend. I'm going to be doing a Collision watch along tomorrow. Collision's on at 5 Eastern, which is 10 p.m. for me. Glorious. The FTR wrestling. So
are you
I'll be live.
Slams live, or are you watching it later?
I think I'm going to watch it later. That'd be the best play,
For the health of
so I'm going to watch Collision, then go to bed, and then on Sunday I intend to review the SummerSlam. I don't know who will be on that show, who won't be. It's just it's SummerSlam, right? It feels like it makes sense. So even if it's just a solo, I'll review it on here. Next week, speaking of SummerSlam, we're going to look through the history of SummerSlam. I wanted to pop Alex for this. This is the perfect thumbnail for the situation. LNG 121, the SummerSlam draft. I think we've got a pretty stacked lineup for that. I know confirmed shoots making the town. As we try to put together our ultimate SummerSlam cards.
There should have been a little bubble like in comic pieces of newspaper with Davey Boy that says "I'm fooled."
I'm fooled. Yes, indeed. So that's coming up. I think that comes. Oh, Tuesday, Jeff Jarrett, Grin Grappler. Grappler, Jeff Jarrett.
There you go. Yeah.
Any plugs, boys, beyond what I just laid out there, or is that all good?
Nope.
All right, beautiful.
I don't think so.
All right, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. We had a wonderful time. Thank you to Ibou, who is a babyface here, for stopping by. Lord Oracle for fighting through the nap hangover. And
weird
Bob
allergy attack the whole show.
That's fine. Bob, thanks for being really aggressive and making me really uncomfortable when I pitched a wrestling match. Really appreciate it, bro.
You're welcome.
Yeah. We're just kidding, folks. I sometimes worry because people that have been with us for years will know that the Bob dynamic now is much tamer than it used to be. Rightly so. But I sometimes worry that new grinners are going to be like, oh, this Holbert and O'Neill guy have got a real issue going on. It scares me a little bit, So in fear of breaking kayfabe, I actually like Bob. Sort of. All right. Keep grinning. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the SummerSlam. I'd love to see you there for the Collision Grin along beforehand. But either way, have a great time. And we'll see you when we see you, folks. Keep grinning all out and enjoy this outro. Have a good one.